Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Are you Kandi?
Yeah.
Please help us put this together as best as we can. We'll match statements with evidence. I mean, you know how police work goes, I guess.
Know. I do it all day long. Rob, my husband, has, he has had a really hard time with me working with Emmett. Emmett being younger and, this aggressive attorney. And I have been working with him since October.
Are you and Emmett involved in a romantic relationship?
No.
Have you ever been romantic with Emmett?
No.
Okay, now let's say sexual. Have you been sexual with him?
Love may be a battlefield, but infidelity is a war zone. From momentary lapses in judgment to full-blown affairs, the aftermath of infidelity can wreak havoc on families and leave a trail of broken hearts, and sometimes death, in its wake. In this video, we explore the lives of two married couples whose worlds collided despite seemingly opposite trajectories. It is a case of love, betrayal, and murder. Let's dive in. For Rob and Kandi Hall, it was love at first sight. They met at a local gym in California and made an instant connection. By the time they moved to Idaho in 2010, Rob and Kandi had been together 15 years and had 2 teenage daughters. They settled in Meridian, the second largest city next to Boise, known for its affordable living costs and abundant outdoor recreational opportunities such as skiing, hiking, and fishing. Rob landed a skilled job as a computer technician at the local sheriff's department, while Kandi proved to be a highly competent paralegal at a criminal defense law firm. However, their marriage suffered when Kandi discovered that Rob was having an affair. Though they decided to work on their relationship, Kandi also faced professional difficulties, such as being fired from her paralegal job at the Martin's law office in September 2010. Less than a year after the family's relocation to Idaho, Kandi faced unexpected challenges at work and home that left her feeling unfulfilled. As Kandi tried to navigate through the stormy seas of her personal and professional life, she remained determined to find a new job in the legal field. Her search led her to 30-year-old Emmett Corrigan, an aspiring attorney awaiting his bar exam results. Their meeting was by chance, arranged through a mutual friend. Although Emmett initially talked about business and eventually needing a paralegal for his law practice, their connection quickly became more than just business-minded. Within 2 weeks, their relationship turned physical, igniting a passion neither could resist. But unfortunately, Kandi was not the only one who had broken vows. Emmett Corrigan was a rising star in the legal field, characterized by his confidence, assertiveness, and good looks. Upon passing the bar exam, he started his own law practice focusing on criminal defense. However, his achievements were not limited to his career alone. He had a loving wife and 4 beautiful children at home. Emmett met his future wife, Ashley, while both attended Utah State University in 2003. They quickly hit it off and were married in a Mormon temple in March 2004. As Emmett worked hard to establish his career, Ashley devoted herself to raising their children and supporting her husband's legal aspirations. On the surface, Emmett appeared to be on top of the world with a doting family and flourishing career. Yet, there were whispers behind closed doors that painted a different picture of Emmett. Some described him as overly aggressive, cunning, and ruthless. It left many wondering how far he would go to get what he wanted and what dark secrets he might be hiding behind his charming facade. Emmett began his law practice with big plans for success, and he knew that a skilled and dedicated paralegal was essential to achieving his dreams. So in October 2010, he brought Kandi Hall on board, and she quickly proved herself a valuable asset to the firm. However, their relationship was far from professional, and it did not go unnoticed.
I met Emmett at a business lunch. He was in hot pursuit of me coming to work for him. He would show up at my office every morning, email constantly all day long. One morning, we went to pick up some items for the office, and that's when he kissed me. He said, "I'm sorry, I just had to do that." I thought to myself, what is he doing? I'm not worthy of a man that's 10 years younger than me. I remember Emmett's paralegal telling me that he had 5 children, but that his wife was awful towards him. I think deep down, Emmett knew what he was doing with me was wrong, but he didn't know how to change it. He liked all the attention and the control that he had while he was cheating.
Rumors of their torrid affair quickly spread throughout the firm, and their sexual encounters at the office only fueled the gossip. As Kandi settled into her new job, some of her past mistakes caught up to her. Just weeks after being hired by Emmett, the Martins Law Office, Kandi's previous employer, reported her to the police for financial discrepancies after an audit. They alleged Kandi had redirected $32,500 from business clients to her personal accounts. With mounting legal troubles and personal issues, Kandi's life was rapidly unraveling. Back at home, Kandi's husband, Rob, grew increasingly wary of her behavior at work shortly after her hire at Emmett's law office. He never liked Emmett from day one, and his gut instincts told him something was off. His suspicions were apparent in emails, including one sent to Kandi on January 2, 2011, in which he stated, "I'm still in shock that you continue to text Emmett and continue to delete the texts, while all this time, if I felt uneasy, you would throw your phone at me and tell me to look at the texts from Emmett. You've reached a new low for me. Good luck with Emmett. Once the honeymoon is over, you'll be all alone. Karma is a bitch." In late January, there was a heated confrontation between Rob and Emmett in the back parking lot of Emmett's office, after which Emmett made the following post to Facebook. "Nothing better than having someone try and call you out, and when it comes go time, they end up pissing their pants and not wanting any part of what they started. Apparently, they talk smack in Cali. Here in Idaho, talk is cheap. Throwing down settles it once and for all." In a separate incident in late February 2011, Kandi received a late-night text from Emmett that said, "I wish I was there with you tonight," which caught Rob's attention. An angry Rob called Emmett and said, "Why are you contacting my wife at this time of night?" Soon, the two men found themselves toe-to-toe at the front door of Rob's house. The tension between them was palpable as they nearly came to blows. After the confrontation, a devastated Rob approached Kandi and said, "You win. I can't compete. He's young, he's good-looking, he's an attorney. You make him a lot of money. What good am I?" Rob was heartbroken, but his troubles with Emmett were only beginning. A couple of weeks later, Emmett posted the following message to Facebook. "So sad seeing people get manipulated by people who abuse, lie, and cheat. I would kick their ass, but they're too scared to throw down. LOL. Next time, I'll film it for you." In private and now publicly, Emmett seemed to be going out of his way to humiliate Rob. Meanwhile, as Emmett's wife, Ashley, was in the later stages of her 5th pregnancy, she noticed that Emmett had not been himself for months. He was spending too much time away from home, causing concern among their children. Despite her worries, Ashley eagerly anticipated their upcoming anniversary, hoping to reconnect with her husband. However, Emmett shattered her hopes when he informed her that he would attend a bodybuilding conference instead. Desperate to save their marriage, Ashley devised a plan to reignite the passion between them. Tragically, little did she know Emmett and Kandi had their own agenda, leading to a dangerous turn of events. On the morning of March 11, Kandi, accompanied by Emmett, met with a divorce attorney. She later testified in court that she was never seriously considering divorce and that Emmett had pushed her to do it. Yet, the Idaho Press-Tribune reported that Emmett filed divorce papers on her behalf. Later that day, Kandi left work at 6 p.m. and, upon arriving home, found Rob in the garage. An argument arose in which Rob expressed frustration with Kandi's lack of attention toward their relationship. He stormed out of the house at about 8:45 p.m., and she left shortly after that. As she backed out of their driveway, she called Emmett and told him she was headed to the Walgreens pharmacy to pick up a prescription. Meanwhile, Ashley had prepared a special evening dinner for Emmett. However, she had no idea what was about to transpire. Emmett arrived late and said he had already eaten. At some point in the evening, Ashley leaned in for a kiss at what she thought was the right moment, but Emmett turned his head away. Frustrated, she decided to confront him about their marriage troubles, but he reacted with anger. Then, his cell phone rang and he took the call in another room. It was Kandi. She told Emmett she was headed to Walgreens and he agreed to meet up with her, leaving Ashley alone and confused. As Emmett headed towards the door, Ashley pleaded with him to stay, but he coldly replied, "Don't tell me what to do." Kandi and Emmett met at Walgreens and she entered Emmett's truck. They drove to a nearby secluded area and, for the second time that day, had sex. Meanwhile, Kandi's daughter happened to drive by the pharmacy and noticed her mother's empty BMW in the parking lot. She called Kandi, but when there was no answer, she contacted her father to see if he knew anything. Kandi eventually returned her daughter's call and said she was driving around with a female friend. But by then, an angry and suspicious Rob had arrived at Walgreens. He had been searching for and calling Kandi with no luck. After finally getting through to Kandi 17 minutes later, he was startled when he suddenly heard a male voice. "What's up, Chief?" said Emmett. He then said to Rob, "Yeah, she's with me. We're talking about life. You got a problem with that?" Emmett ended the conversation by saying, "Yeah, I'm going to crack your fucking head. Just wait there. We'll be right there." Rob, Kandi, and Emmett arrived at Walgreens at 10 p.m. Before leaving his truck to confront Emmett, Rob removed his gun from its holster in the center console and put the firearm in his hoodie pocket. Rob approached Emmett and Kandi and asked, "What's going on?" Emmett replied, "She doesn't want to be with you, Rob." Rob looked at Emmett and asked, "She wants to be with you?" Emmett responded, "She doesn't want to be with you. I mean, really, what did you make last year? 40,000? Kandi, what did we make last week? 27,000? That's how much I make in 1 week, Rob. You don't make anything." Rob looked at Kandi and said, "But you want to be... He's got 5 kids, Kandi." He then looked at Emmett and stated, "And your poor wife. She's pregnant. She's at home while you're out with my wife." That was enough to trigger Emmett into shoving Rob in the chest. Kandi states she stepped in to break it up and, thinking it was over, she turned and walked towards her car when suddenly, chaos erupted.
What do you need, police, fire, or paramedic?
There was gunshots. The Walgreens, when I drove by, there were 2 people down.
All units 10-3. It now appears as though shots are being fired. All officers use caution.
Police arrived at the scene to find Rob standing and Emmett lying on the ground. Emmett had sustained gunshots to the head and chest, but it was too late to save him. Rob had a grazing bullet wound on the top left side of his head, inches from certain death. A medical expert later testified that although the bullet did not penetrate or fracture the skull, it caused a traumatic brain injury. As a result, Rob suffered retrograde amnesia, and his statement to officers after the shooting was muddled and incomplete. Police could not tell if he was shot in a struggle or shot himself. However, forensic testing later revealed considerable gunshot residue on Rob's hands, but only trace amounts on Emmett's hands. Rob was taken by ambulance to a local hospital for treatment and placed under arrest. With no other witnesses, it would be up to Kandi to shed light on the events that led up to the deadly altercation.
Are you Kandi?
Yeah.
Please help us put this together as best as we can. We'll match statements with evidence. I mean, you know how police work goes, I guess.
know. I do it all day long. Rob, my husband, has he has had a really hard time with me working with Emmett. Emmett being younger and this aggressive attorney, and I have been working with him since October.
Are you and Emmett involved in a romantic relationship?
No.
Have you ever been romantic with Emmett?
No.
Okay, now let's say sexual. Have you been sexual with Emmett?
No. So when I went and got gas at Fred Meyer with Emmett, and then we were driving back. My daughter called, and she said, "Mom, where are you?" And I told her I was with Michelle, and that is my best friend Michelle, because I didn't want to tell her who I was with. So then Rob calls, and he calls me, and I pick up, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I am out." He said, "Are you out with Emmett?" And I said, "I am." And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "We're just talking." And then Emmett goes, "Let me talk to him." And then Emmett got really upset with Rob on the phone and said something like, I'll break your head. Emmett got out of the truck, and I got out, and I stood there, and Rob came up, and Emmett's a very aggressive man. He's body builds, so he's really pumped up all the time. And he got like this close up to Rob's face. And I remember, and I go, "Hey, knock it off. This is ridiculous." And I hear pop, pop, and then pop. And that's all I heard. And I turned around, and both of them are laying on the ground. And then I ran over, and I was like, I was pretty stunned at that point. I was like, what in the world? I didn't even know what the pop, pop was. It almost sounded like balloons popping. Emmett was kind of like on his, like this. And I didn't know what was going on, and I just see all this blood gushing down his rough face. So I went over and I covered. He had this wound on his top of his head, not covered, and I'm calling 911. He was walking forward, and I see him going down, and I'm like, because I didn't know what he was grabbing for, because I didn't even see it, because it's little. So I grabbed it, and I was holding on to his shirt because it looked like he was going to fall, and I grabbed the gun, and I go, no. And I'm like, "No, you need to sit down, no. And I took it, and I threw it in the street, and that's all, and then he collapsed.
Rob pleaded not guilty and was held in custody on a $1 million bond. As for Kandi, her legal problems would continue. A little more than 2 months after the shooting, Boise police arrested Kandi on a felony grand theft by possession charge related to allegedly stealing $32,500 from her previous employer. She was released on a $100,000 bond pending trial. At trial, the prosecution presented evidence to support their claim that the killing of Emmett Corrigan was premeditated. They portrayed Rob as an angry, jealous man, hell-bent on tracking down his wife's lover. They alleged Rob shot Emmett twice before turning the gun on himself. Key pieces of evidence included gunpowder residue, emails discussing the affair that Rob took with him to the Walgreens, suggesting he was in an angry state of mind, and testimony from a gun expert who said, "You don't take your gun out of your holster unless you intend to aim it at somebody or something." The defense countered that if Rob Hall was angry, it was only after he was pushed to the brink of madness and humiliation over his wife's affair with her boss. They attempted to frame Emmett as a very aggressive person with a temper. They claimed, during an altercation with Emmett, the gun fell out of the kangaroo pocket of Rob's hoodie. Emmett got to the weapon first and shot Rob in the head, but Rob was only superficially wounded. Rob stated he did not recall what happened after that. During Kandi's testimony, she made many conflicting statements and gave accounts of the shooting that differed from her pre-trial statements. For example, she testified at trial that she heard 3 gunshots, which she described as a pop and then a pause and pop, pop. By contrast, Kandi had initially stated there were 2 shots, followed by a pause, and then the 3rd shot. During the final jury instruction, the judge stated, "Frankly, in my many years as a judge, I don't know that I've seen a witness to a case who has made so many conflicting statements." In an earlier motion hearing, the judge said, "In my 31 years on the bench, I don't think I've seen a witness more thoroughly discredited in the course of a proceeding." After closing arguments and jury instruction, the jurors retreated to decide Rob's fate. Was the shooting of Emmett Corrigan in self-defense, or was it murder?
Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yeah.
And Mr. Hall, if you could please stand. Is Robert Dean Hall guilty or not guilty of second-degree murder? Guilty.
After 7 hours of deliberation, the jury found Rob Hall guilty of the lesser charge of second-degree murder. He was later sentenced to 30 years and required to serve at least 17 and a half years before parole eligibility. According to prison records, Rob remains incarcerated at Idaho State Correctional Institution in Kuna, Ada County, and will be eligible for parole in 2028. Unfortunately for the Hall family, their legal troubles continued as Kandi pleaded guilty to grand theft in April 2013. She was later sentenced to 14 years in prison. Under the initial terms, she had to serve at least 2 years before being eligible for parole. Fortunately for Kandi, the judge then placed her on a retained jurisdiction program, allowing her to do a total of 6 months in a prison-based treatment program instead. As a result, Kandi was released from prison in June 2014 and will remain on probation until 2026. A little over 3 years after the deadly shooting, Kandi and Ashley agreed to appear on the American daytime TV program Dr. Phil, ostensibly to attempt to resolve their differences and facilitate healing.
I did not ruin that family, but I am the only one that she blames for everything. I think the most hurtful thing, it's how Ashley portrays me as some cheap, slutty, no good for nothing, inconsiderate whore. I think if Emmett was here today, he would actually tell Ashley that she's wrong about what she's doing. I strayed, that's what I did, but that does not define who I am.
Well, Kandi has not spoken to Ashley in 4 years, and as I said earlier, Ashley had a long-standing restraining order against Kandi, but she lifted it just for today's show. So let's bring Kandi out. Kandi, Dr. Phil. Right here.
What do you want to hear? You want to hear me say sorry? I am absolutely sorry. I have been sorry since day one.
Emmett didn't deserve to die. I'm not here to have you say you're sorry. I'm here to hopefully help you understand what it's been for me. You had this power over me because you hurt me so bad. And I was waiting and waiting for you to come and fix me. And I guess today I'm not here for you to fix me because I've done that all by myself. I've been dropped to the ground by all 3 of these collisions. So I just want you to know that I'm still standing. I'm still me. You might have made me fall by some of your choices, but you didn't break me.
But I think it's important for people to understand the internal dialogue that you had. What did it mean to you that your husband took his last breath with her and not with you?
It was humiliating. You know, you marry someone so you can be their everything. So on really hard nights when you're questioning who you are, they're fighting for you. And to have a gun tell me that I wasn't enough for it to stay at home, and to have a man so angry that I wasn't enough and my children weren't enough for him to beat the crap out of him, and that would have been fine. He probably deserved that. And then to have a woman who, you knew who I was. I mean, my picture at one time was in Emmett's office. You held my baby, for gosh sakes. You volunteered to babysit my baby. And then to have this night where you're telling Emmett that your husband's beating you up and you're telling your husband that Emmett's doing all this stuff, and to have this night where almost you wanted them to fight for you.
No.
That wasn't fair. Because my husband should have been home fighting for me, and that's been the hardest thing, to know that I wasn't enough.
In the years after Emmett's murder, Ashley started a blog called The Moments We Stand to heal from the tragedy. Her blog also became a platform for others to find solace. In addition, Ashley founded A Reason to Stand, a nonprofit organization for trauma victims. She has since remarried, has 2 daughters in common with her current spouse, and is a motivational speaker and author. Her children with Emmett are said to be doing well. The Kandi Hall affair and the shooting death of Emmett Corrigan serve as a tragic reminder of the devastating consequences of infidelity and unchecked emotions. Yet, it also presents an opportunity to reevaluate values and build stronger relationships. The price of betrayal is too high, and we must strive toward a world where love, trust, and respect are paramount in creating meaningful and lasting connections with those we cherish. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you believe that infidelity is ever justified in a marriage? Do you think that forgiveness and reconciliation are possible after an affair? As usual, feel free to share your thoughts below.